you how to configure switches, right? Or how switch works. Okay, switching. I told you that switch is a layer 2 device. Switch क्या होता है? एक layer 2 device. We discussed about OSI model. In OSI model, I told you different 7 layers, right? And this switch network device works at layer 2 or data link layer. Layer 2 कौन सी होती है? Data link layer. So it is used to forward the packets based on destination MAC address. जब भी switch के पास कोई पैकेट आता है तो वो क्या करता है? Destination MAC address के basis पे पैकेट फॉरवर्डिंग करता है based on its MAC address table. Okay, so switch will create a MAC address table so that it can forward the packets based on destination MAC address. Okay, let's say here we have a switch connected, switch 1, and we have one PC connected here and one PC connected here. And I told you in a switch we have a broadcast domain running by default, right? Switch में एक broadcast domain by default created होता है, and all the switch ports are the part of that broadcast domain, right? This broadcast domain is called VLAN 1, right? And I also told you how switch creates its MAC address table. ये भी बताया था मैंने कि ये switch कैसे अपनी MAC address table create करेगा, कैसे packets को receive करेगा and forward करेगा, right? So we discussed about switch operation also. In the end, we started with VLAN. मैं आपको क्या बता रहा था last में? VLAN, right? And I told you VLAN is called virtual local area network, virtual LAN. Okay. Now you can consider a scenario where in your network you have hundreds of PCs connected in internal LAN. Okay, where you have hundreds of PCs connected in your internal LAN, and you want to divide them in different segments. You want to divide them in different departments, right? जैसे अगर आपके किसी भी प्रोडक्शन नेटवर्क में, किसी भी एंटरप्राइज नेटवर्क में डिफरेंट डिपार्टमेंट्स होते हैं, आप क्या चाहते हो कि उन डिफरेंट डिपार्टमेंट्स में आप डिफरेंट नेटवर्क का सबनेट रन करो, राइट? तो आप क्या करोगे? मल्टीपल ब्रॉडकास्ट डोमेन नेटवर्क में बनाते हो, राइट? तो स्विच पे अगर आप ब्रॉडकास्ट डोमेन को डिवाइड करना चाहते हो तो आपको क्या यूज करना पड़ेगा? VLAN, बिकॉज बाय डिफॉल्ट हियर वी हैव ओनली वन ब्रॉडकास्ट डोमेन रनिंग. And if we want to create multiple segments, multiple departments, or if we want to use different networks, then we have to configure multiple VLANs on the switch. Okay, let's say here we have these computers. Okay, these two computers are the part of HR departments. Okay, these two computers are the part of sales department, and this is in admin department, or some computers are in admin department. Okay, now what I want, these different PCs should be the part of their dedicated segment, जो भी उनका dedicated segment है, right? So within broadcast domain, जो ये PC connected है within same broadcast domain, they will be able to communicate with each other, right? But when a PC will try to communicate with other PC who is connected in different broadcast domain, then it cannot be done using switch, right? For that you have to do routing, because मैंने आपको बताया था कि जब भी आप एक ब्रॉडकास्ट डोमेन से दूसरे ब्रॉडकास्ट डोमेन, या आप कह सकते हो कि एक नेटवर्क से दूसरे नेटवर्क में कम्युनिकेट करते हो, तो एक लेयर 3 डिवाइस की रिक्वायरमेंट होती है, which can be a router, which can be a firewall, which can be a layer 3 switch also, because switches are available as layer 2 devices and layer 3. देखो ट्रेडिशनली जो स्विच होते हैं वो layer 2 होते हैं, राइट? बाय डिफॉल्ट स्विच layer 2 में वर्क करता है, लेकिन अगर आप उसको layer 3 में यूज करना चाहते हो, you want to enable routing on that switch, then you have to configure, you can say layer 3 configuration. You have to define some layer 3 configuration, otherwise ये layer 2 में ही वर्क करेगा. ठीक है?
Hi, Atin.
Yes, yes, Ms. Keerti, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. Thank you. How are you?
Good, good, good.
Yeah,
Today
is
you
it?
woke up. It
Yeah,
is very early morning in your country, right?
yeah, it's 5 o'clock.
Okay, okay, yeah, no problem.
Yeah, is today topic about switching and
Yes,
VLAN?
yes, we just started switching yesterday, and I told you
Okay,
can say the switching operation, how switch creates MAC address table, how switch forwards the packet, right? These things
yeah,
we discussed only, okay? And
okay,
now I
okay,
am going to tell about this VLAN.
okay, okay, Atin, please carry on.
Okay, so you are familiar with Hindi also, right?
Not much actually. I
Okay,
can
okay. So
survey.
it will be miscellaneous because some of the candidates are, you can say, not that much familiar with English. Okay, but no issues. We will make a combination of Hindi and English. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no problem. Okay, so here if I talk about a VLAN, VLAN is called virtual LAN or virtual local area network. And VLAN is used to create, or VLAN is used to divide the broadcast domain on a switch. Now on the switch, by default, we have a single broadcast domain, which is called VLAN 1. On a switch, by default, we have VLAN 1 created. Okay. It represents a single broadcast domain on the switch. And all the switch ports are assigned in VLAN 1 by default. Switch ports are assigned or defined in VLAN 1. So it means all the switch ports are the part of same broadcast domain, right? They are the part of same broadcast domain because they are all assigned in VLAN 1. So in this scenario, which I am telling you, where you have multiple, you can say segments, multiple departments in the network, then only VLAN 1 cannot help you, right? Because it is a single broadcast domain. Now, if you want to create different department and if you want to assign different network IP addresses on these different departments, computers or network devices, then you have to create multiple VLANs. Multiple VLANs means you are going to create multiple broadcast domains on the switch, right? Okay. So if you take the default condition, in that scenario, what will happen? For example, all these PCs are in same VLAN, VLAN 1. Okay. Now, if you assign same network IP addresses on these PCs, let's say I am using 10.110/24, and on this PC 1.1 is configured, PC 2.2, PC 3.3, PC 4.4, PC 5.5. Then all these PCs are this part of same broadcast domain, and we are configuring same network IP address on these PCs, right? So they will be able to communicate without any configuration on the switch, right? Even you don't need to touch the switch. You just need to connect all the PCs with the switch ports. Switch port means, see, switch is a network device, right? And it provides scalability in the network because switch has multiple switch ports. It can connect more and more endpoints with the network. On the other hand, if I talk about a router has very limited interfaces, very limited ports. Okay, maybe 4 ports will be there, 6 ports can be there. After that, you can add some modules to the chassis and you can increase the port numbers, right? But what
Yes.
happens in the switch? You will find, you can say, switch port quantity will be start from 8 ports, then 12 ports, 16 ports, 24 ports, 48 ports. And if you are going to purchase multi-chassis switches, in these type of switches, you will find ports more than 96, more than 100, more than 200 also. Okay. So it
Okay.
depends on the requirement. If you have very large enterprise network where hundreds or thousands of users are connecting, then you will connect a lot of switches in that network because a switch can support a catalyst switch, normal switch. I'm not talking about Nexus. Okay. Nexus switch is used in data center. So we are not discussing data center, right? We are discussing LAN and WAN, right? LAN and WAN. So in LAN, you can say you are going to use Cisco catalyst switches. In Cisco, we have 2 categories of switches. Okay. First one is called catalyst switch and Nexus switch. Catalyst
Mhm.
switches are used in enterprise network or in LAN, and Nexus switches are used in data center. Okay, these are very high performance devices. Okay,
Is Nexus means next generation one?
no, it is Nexus, Cisco Nexus
Okay.
switch. Yes,
Okay.
it is Nexus itself. Okay, and this is Cisco Catalyst switch. These are different categories of switches in Cisco. Okay,
Okay.
because in enterprise network you need high performance device, but not like Nexus. Okay, Nexus is very high
Yes.
performance. On
Okay.
Nexus, you will find 100 GB per second on a port or
Okay.
200 GB per second on a port. Very high speed is supported. Yes. Okay. So I will give you an overview of Nexus devices also, but for now we are discussing about only Catalyst switches. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, so all the switch ports are assigned in VLAN 1, and if we assign same network IP addresses on them, they will be able to communicate with each other because what switch does, switch creates communication between same network devices, right? Which are the part of same broadcast domain, you can say, or same network. If you are going to create the communication between different network devices, then you have to use a layer 3 device or a router. Okay. Now, if I talk about the range of VLAN, so I told you that VLAN ID is, or you can say VLAN is represented or defined using a 16-bit long ID. So the maximum range, so the range will be 0 to 4094. This is the range. Okay. Or you can write it 1 to 4094, not 0, 4094. VLAN 0 and 4093. If I talk about this 12-bit, sorry, it is 12-bit, not 16. If I talk about this 12-bit ID, then maximum value can be 4096, right? 4096. Now, the range of the usable VLAN is 1 to 4094. There is VLAN 0, there is VLAN 4095. They are not used. Okay. So the usable range of VLAN is 1 to 4094. Clear? Now, whenever you are going to create VLAN, let's say you are creating VLAN 10. Just for example, you are creating VLAN 10. Now, after creating this VLAN 10 on the switch, you need to assign the switch port into VLAN because by default, the switch port is assigned in VLAN 1. Now, if you are going to create a different VLAN, you have to assign the switch port in that different VLAN manually. You have to do it. Okay. Clear. So we will see that how can we configure the switch port to assign the VLAN. Okay. After this, you can say, see, the common, you can say, concept is that if you want to create multiple departments, multiple broadcast domain on a switch or multiple network segment on a switch, then you are going to create VLAN. Okay. And this is the VLAN range in which VLAN 1 is by default created. It is default VLAN. Okay. Clear. So the users connected in the same VLAN can communicate via layer 2 switch. But different VLAN users cannot communicate with each other, can't communicate with each other by default. Or you can write it like this, to create communication between different VLAN users, we have to use a layer 3 device, right? Layer 3 device and configure inter-VLAN routing. What we need to configure? Inter-VLAN routing. Because different VLAN means different broadcast domain, different network. If you want to create the communication between different network, you have to do routing. Now we are going to do this routing from one VLAN to another VLAN. That's why it is called inter-VLAN routing, right? We are doing routing between two or more VLANs, right? That's why it is called inter-VLAN, inter-VLAN, okay? Yes. Now, when you are going to create VLAN, you need to run a command on Cisco CLI, Cisco Switch CLI. Okay. Here I am going to tell you about Cisco iOS CLI. We will see the configuration today. What is iOS? That is ISO, right? ISO and iOS both are different, and Apple iOS is also different. Okay. So if I talk about the Cisco iOS, it is the operating system of Cisco devices, Cisco routers, and Cisco switches. Like for Apple iPhone, we have iOS version, right? It is Apple operating system. Okay. But this Cisco iOS is Cisco operating system. It is called Inter-Networking Operating System. iOS, Inter-Networking Operating System, which is installed on Cisco devices like Cisco routers and Cisco switches. So whenever you are going to configure any Cisco router or Cisco switch, you have to use CLI, command line interpreter. Okay. And on this CLI, you need to run commands. Okay. So to run the commands, here we have different CLI modes. Okay. Here we have different CLI modes. First of all, you will find this mode. As soon as you log into the device, you will find this mode. It is called user mode CLI. User mode, okay, or user exec mode. See, here we have some words like exec and shell and CLI. These are all same thing, okay. Exec means CLI, shell means CLI. Like if you use Unix, then this exec is the Unix word. Exec is Unix word. Shell is used for any kind of command interpreter, command line interpreter. Okay, like you will find Windows PowerShell. Windows PowerShell is used to configure Windows using the commands, using some CLI commands. Okay, but here shell means CLI. So this is user exec mode. Okay, and after this you will find this mode. Okay, it is called privilege mode. I will show you on the CLI. Okay, it is called privilege mode, and then you will find this mode also. This is called global configuration mode. Global configuration mode. Okay, these are the modes of Cisco iOS devices. Clear? Now, on each and every mode, you will run different set of commands. Okay, different set of commands. Now, if I talk about user mode CLI, user mode CLI. See, this user mode CLI will not provide you, you can say, any level of access. Okay, here you can say we have no config commands or no, very limited. You can write it like this: limited operational commands. Okay, only 5 commands are there on this user mode CLI. Overall, if I talk about Cisco iOS CLI, 7,000 commands are there. Okay, 7,000 commands are there. You don't need to learn all of them. Okay, but on this user mode CLI, you will have limited operational command. Now, what is operational commands? Operational command means the command which is going to perform some operation like reload, copy, delete, move, direct dir directory, or you can say exit, enable, disable, right? Ping is also operational command. It will verify the reachability between two devices, right? Ping. Then we have trace route, SSH. Other commands are also there. So these are all operational commands which are going to tell you some, or which are going to show you some operation on the device. Okay. After that, in privilege mode, we have show commands plus operational commands. Means all the show commands are available. Show commands are used to show you the output of any configuration. Let's say you have configured an IP address on the interface of router, or you have configured a VLAN, you have assigned the VLAN on the switch port, right? Now you want to verify this configuration. So what you need to do, you need to run a show command. Like to check the VLAN information, we use show VLAN brief, right? Show VLAN brief. Now, if you are running show command, it will give you some output. And if you want to check it for VLAN, then you can run show VLAN brief. It will show you which VLANs are created, which ports are assigned in which VLAN, what is the name of VLAN, all this information will be given. Okay. So show commands are very, very important for troubleshooting, for monitoring, okay, and for the verification also. Show commands and operational commands will allow you to perform some operation, like you want to reload the device, then you can run reload command. Okay, if you want to clear some configuration, if you want to save some configuration, then you have to run some operational commands. I will tell you about them. Okay, and then in global configuration mode, you can say it has full access. Sorry, full access. You can run any command here. Okay, you can run any show command, you can run any operational command, you can run the configurational commands also. Let's say you want to configure VLAN. So you cannot configure VLAN from privilege mode, or you cannot configure VLAN from user mode. Okay, to configure the VLAN, you have to go to global configuration mode. Okay, there you will run a command VLAN and a VLAN ID. VLAN will be created. Okay, so these are the 3 CLI modes on Cisco iOS or on Cisco routers, you can say, or switches. Okay, clear. Now to create, what you need to do, you will take the CLI access of switch and you will go to global configuration mode, right? This mode, global configuration mode, right? And here you will run a command VLAN and VLAN ID like this. Then you will go to VLAN configuration mode as soon as you will run this command. Here you can define the name of VLAN, a logical name, so that you can identify this department, this segment uniquely. Okay. So here you can give any name like HR, just a logical name, and then you can exit. So VLAN will be created. Okay, VLAN will be created. Now you need to assign this VLAN on the switch port, right? You need to assign this VLAN on the switch port. So you need to understand how can we configure the switch ports. Okay, so here on Cisco switches, we can configure switch port in two modes. There are two modes of switch port. Okay. First one is called access mode and trunk mode. Okay. Access mode switch port and trunk mode switch port. In access mode, switch port can carry or can receive and forward. Carry का means क्या हो गया? Receive and forward the packets for one VLAN. For one VLAN, for one VLAN in which it is assigned. In which it is assigned. This is access mode VLAN. Okay, sorry, access mode switch port. And then trunk. In trunk mode, switch port can carry the traffic for multiple VLANs. Multiple VLANs which are allowed on the trunk. Which are allowed on the trunk. Okay. See, it is like this. Let me tell you how it is going to work. Let's say here we have a network. This is switch 1. And with this switch, another switch is connected. Okay. Now here we have PCs. For example, on this switch, I am creating VLAN 10 and 20. On this switch, I am creating VLAN 10 and 20. Okay, so this user is assigned in VLAN 10 and this user is assigned in VLAN 20. It is assigned in VLAN 10 and it is assigned in VLAN 20. Okay, clear. Now you can connect one or two PCs more just to show you. This is also VLAN 10 and here this is VLAN 20. Okay, same here. We have VLAN 10 and this is VLAN 20. Okay. Now, with the switch, you can see same VLAN users are connected and different VLAN users are also connected, right? Now, when you are going to configure these switch ports, which are connected with the endpoint, then you will assign a single VLAN for them, right? One PC can be the part of one VLAN, right? एक computer जो आपका switch से connected है, वो एक VLAN का part हो सकता है. So you will assign its switch port into its specific VLAN, okay? Then this switch port will be able to forward and receive the packets based on this VLAN 10 only. It will not be able to receive the packets for VLAN 20 or VLAN 30, right? Because this switch port is assigned in VLAN 10 only. So it will be able to receive and forward the packets only for VLAN 10. Okay. This is access mode. You have to configure this switch port in access mode. Access mode switch ports are configured only on the switch ports which are connected with the endpoints. Okay. Here you can write it. We configure access mode on the ports, switch ports, which are connected to endpoints. Endpoints, okay? And we configure trunk on the ports which are connected with other network device like a switch, router, firewall, etc. Okay. So now here you will be able to understand that same VLAN users can communicate with each other here also and here also, right? Here also and here as well. Now these same VLAN users can communicate. Now if this VLAN 10 user wants to communicate with this VLAN 10 user, then it has to send the traffic using this link, right? And this VLAN 20 user wants to communicate with this VLAN 20 user, then also traffic will be sent using this link. And the reply packet will also come from the same link, right? Reply packets will also come from the same link. Now on this link, we are going to send the traffic for multiple VLANs. We are going to send the traffic for VLAN 10, 20, 30, whatever VLANs are created on the switch using this single switch port, right? Then you have to configure this switch port as trunk port. If you don't configure this switch port as trunk port, then what you need to do? You need to connect multiple cables between the switches, right? Let's say आपके पास VLAN 10 है, VLAN 20 है, VLAN 30 है, and you don't want to configure trunk between the switches, or you don't want to configure this link as trunk, then you have to connect three links. This will carry for VLAN 10, this will carry for VLAN 20, and this will carry for VLAN 30. But it is not practically possible, because if on the switch you are creating 50 VLANs, not 4, 5, 50 VLANs, right? Then how will you send the traffic for all the 50 VLANs between the switches? There will be less port numbers, right? इतने थोड़ी ports होते हैं आपके पास. So what you are going to do? You are going to use only one link, or for redundancy, you can use two links. आप redundancy के लिए 2 link, 4 link, 8 link जो भी use करना चाहो वो कर सकते हो. Redundancy के लिए, right? But we will configure this link as a trunk port, trunk link, which will be able to send the traffic or receive the traffic for multiple VLANs using a single link. Okay, this is called trunk port. This is called trunk port. Now you can say that with this switch, a router is connected here, R1. Okay, and this router is connected with ISP, Internet Service Provider, right? So this VLAN 10 user will send the traffic to ISP, right? VLAN 20 user will send the traffic to ISP. And these VLAN 10 and 20 users will also send the traffic to ISP.